Metal Gear Triangle.
Oh man, I'm so excited. And also, like, this is one of those ones we've been like, Boy Who Cried Sniper Wolf. Like, they have been just kind of telling us about this thing repeatedly. Like, the collector's edition leaked like 10 months ago or something. Like, I thought this was going to be, they showed us a trailer of like PS5 games coming in 2025 that was last January, and that was included in there because that's how long ago we've seen this thing kicking around, and we're all like, yeah, sure, that'll be a fall release. And my biggest hope is that Konami looked at what they had and they looked at the expectations and looked at the hype, and they were like, let's not phone this in. Let's really give this the amount of polish it deserves. And looking at this in action, like, they threw some money at this thing. This looks incredibly slick, and I'm really, really excited to play it again. When they did that first reveal, there was the big CG one where Snake's like hiding in the water with all the funny animals and stuff, and there's like a bunch of Easter eggs in the background. I was like, okay, CG trailer, we're not going to play this until 2027. And then they showed off some screenshots shortly thereafter, and I was like, okay, that looks like a real thing. But again, screenshots, I don't really trust it. And then we got, I think somebody did a hands-on preview at Gamescom, and they were like, yeah, it's, we did the Virtuous mission. Like, we did the beginning of the game. It's the game. And that's just really, really exciting. Like, I feel like we're frequently victims of our own hype and expectations. But like, if Konami can do to Metal Gear Solid 3 what Capcom did to like RE4 or, even RE2, like, I'm just very, very happy about that. And I kind of looked away about halfway through this because I was like, no, I want some surprises for when I actually play it in months from now. So
no, that's a really good way of putting it, Max. When RE4 Remake came out, I made a video for us at IGN where I was kind of like, is this the best video game remake ever made? Or basically, like, this is the new bar to me. And so, like, the bar is high these days. At the same time, like, the Metal Gear franchise has been in such a weird spot with Konami specifically for over, like a decade now, right? Was the last like actual entry was 10 years ago. We talked about that in a recent episode of Beyond Metal Gear Solid 5. And, like that, they parted ways with Kojima. He went off to do his own thing, and seeing the level of like love and work getting put into this thing tells me that, like, not only is this going to be an awesome remake, but also they're not just going to take these assets and just be like, well, we're good. I feel like they're going to build on something with this. Like, I don't know if that means more remakes or we're going to get a new Metal Gear somewhere, like with a new director on board. But it feels like there's like, this is the start of them being like, okay, we're ready to take this franchise seriously again. We're ready to mend that sort of, the brokenness that we had with the fans. And you'll never fix it with Kojima because he's off doing his own thing. But I do think that this bodes well for the future of this series.
No, at some point you got to get other people involved if you want this franchise to keep going. And like, I love Metal Gear Solid dearly. It's pretty much what made me truly fall in love with video games as a medium. I love Kojima. I love what he does. It makes me really sad that he's not working on this anymore. It probably doesn't make him that sad because he spent the bulk of his career making Metal Gear games, and I think he kind of wanted to go do other stuff. But at the same time, like, I would love to see someone who grew up with Metal Gear take the reins and get a chance to, mess around with this. And I don't know what that looks like or how that even would come together. Like, what does a Metal Gear Solid game look like in the 2020s? Like, I don't know, shy of a remake. So it would be, I'm curious, I'm interested. But in the meantime, it's really cool to see that they're not phoning this in. Not only are they not phoning it in, they showed us that they're going to have the little Ape Escape stuff in there, which is wonderful news. I'm so excited about that.
So excited for that. Ape Escape is one of my favorite PlayStation classic games. Like, I am not a huge Metal Gear fan, which I've talked about on the show in previous episodes, but I'm very much looking forward to giving this one an actual shot this time around. I think the last time I tried to play it was PSP back in the day. And the cutscenes at the beginning of the game were just a little too much for me. And I know that's Metal Gear. I understand that. But I was also younger and I just I wasn't ready for that in a game right off the get-go, and having 2 hours of cutscenes before I get to move my little guy around the map.
They're chatty in there. They like to do a little. They love to talk on the phone or the radio or whatever. Like, it's a thing. Speaking of them chatting, it was really nice hearing David Hayter's voice. I didn't expect that to do that much of a thing for me. There's an interesting little thing going on here with especially sort of, I guess, American Metal Gear fans or Western Metal Gear fans, where to them, Kojima can do no wrong, except for when he fired David Hayter or unceremoniously recast him as Kiefer Sutherland for 5. And I know that really bent a lot of people out of shape because it was like, that was their Snake. And the fact that Konami got David Hayter back, I think is going to sort of, a lot of people definitely have some ill will towards Konami for how they handled, Kojima and MGS5. And I feel like the fact that they're just getting David Hayter front and center is going to help kind of just sort of, sugarcoat that a bit and, hopefully get people excited. Mm-hmm. I don't know. This is not my favorite Metal Gear game by a long shot, but I will say objectively, it's like the best. Like, I think it's the most well-rounded. It also helps that it is chronologically the earliest. So it's a good jumping on point. They're smart to change the 3 into a triangle, which is an odd choice, but it works. So yeah, for anybody who's never messed with this franchise, which has been effectively dormant for a whole decade, this is, probably going to be a good spot to start.
I think like gameplay wise, it's right behind, well, not right. It's far behind 5 for me because 5 is just like on another level, but 3 is probably the second best to me gameplay wise. Like there's just so much cool stuff you can do in this game. I've been itching to replay this game so badly. I have it on a 3DS. It's on my desk within reach of me talking right now. And every single time I don't hear about this game for a while, I go, oh, you know what? I'll fire it up there. I'll play through it. And then, because this is probably months and months away. We were supposed to get this last year, like up until like December, a bunch of people were like, so is this still happening? Like it's still 2025, right? Is that, and it just didn't. So it's cool. Like there was, this was not my favorite state of play, but I will say that like getting updates on a bunch of stuff with firm release dates, as firm as a release date can be in the world of video games. We all know that, was nice and very refreshing. Like there's a lot of like logo reveals, CG reveals, 2026, they're getting thrown around these days. And they did some of that today here too, right? But getting a release date for this and knowing when we're playing it is very cool.
Yeah, we got something like 30, 31 games thereabouts. Some of them were games we knew about. Some of them were just sort of updates on things, but well over 24. And yeah, like a lot of them had either release dates or release windows, which was pretty cool to see. And again, take a release date with a grain of salt, but that's realistic expectations.